Novel Navigator. Chapter 111, Jian Wushuang vs Xiao Mang. Bang! A thundering explosion was heard. The fierce collision caused the still water on Quiet Moon Lake to splash upward by several feet high instantly, together with the endless shower droplets and snowflakes. The risen water was like a tsunami, gurgling and rushing towards the surrounding areas directly and violently. Step back. Step back immediately. A large number of warriors of the Gold Core realm on the lake were shocked, and they were seen to step back immediately one by one. After the waves finally subsided, the present warriors of the Gold Core realm that had been drenched, looked at the lake again, and this shocked them. The center of Quiet Moon Lake had become a depression of several meters depth, like a sinkhole. In the center of the sinkhole, two figures were battling over a distance of tens of meters. Around them, within 100 meters, there was not even a single figure. Everyone had been knocked back by that fierce collision. It was silent. The whole Quiet Moon Lake turned to silent immediately. In this silence, many eyes turned towards Jian Wushuang. Isn't it amazing that he was able to block that? He blocked that saber from Xiao Mang. What's more, he didn't even step back. Is he evenly matched with Xiao Mang? Everybody was shocked. They couldn't believe that just an initial Gold Core realm like him was able to block the saber from Xiao Mang and be his match. Gradually, the center of the depression was filled with water. Xiao Mang still appeared to be relaxed, but at this moment, he was quite astonished. Interesting. Xiao Mang looked at Jian Wushuang with a subtle smile. It seems that if I want to take away the Black Water Lotus today, I have to work harder. I'm also determined to win the Black Water Lotus, so if you want to get it, you have to get through me. But I'm sure that you can't get through me, said Jian Wushuang coldly. You are so confident. In his eyes, Xiao Mang showed great interest. Then he glanced at the surroundings and said while shaking his head, there are too many people here. If we fight with each other here, I'm afraid that it will be difficult for us to show our real strength. How about having the competition over there? Xiao Mang pointed to a lofty mountain nearby and laughed. Jian Wushuang took a look of the mountain and nodded slightly, okay. Haha, then follow me. Xiao Mang laughed, and they rushed toward the mountain directly. Lao Si, you stay here, Jian Wushuang warned Suro. Don't worry, I promise to get the Black Water Lotus back. Then Jian Wushuang also rushed to the mountain directly. Be careful, Suro reminded him, but Jian Wushuang was already out of her sight. On the Quiet Moon Lake, a large number of warriors of the Gold Core realm were still in shock. Who is that guy? Is he only at the level of initial Gold Core realm? It's too amazing, the power of that confrontation was too intense. There is no doubt that Xiao Mang possesses great strength. After all, he's established. But it's incredible that an initial Gold Core realm with a sword is evenly matched with Xiao Mang. Many warriors of the Gold Core realm were talking about that. Suddenly, Gu Tao, who stood on the water before, dived into the lake. Many people around were aware of this. Gosh! Black Water Lotus seeds. Damn it! V for it quickly. Black Water Lotus seeds in the water. V for it quickly. A large number of warriors of the Gold Core realm on the surface of water responded immediately. A crowd of warriors dived into the lake subsequently. Remember, Xiao Mang won the Black Water Lotus just now, but he threw 7 lotus seeds into lake casually. Although it had been a while, 7 lotus seeds must be in the water. As Black Water Lotus seeds had a unique fragrance, it was not difficult to find them. Soon, the first Black Water Lotus seed was found. Immediately, a fierce slaughter erupted after the seed was found. When almost every warrior dived into lake water to search for the Black Lotus seeds, on the lake, there was a girl in black named Suro staring at that lofty mountain with her dark eyes. Lao San. There was a little worry in the eyes of Suro. She wasn't worried about whether Jian Wushuang could bring the black water lotus back to her or not, but worried for the safety of Jian Wushuang. After all, the man that Jian Wushuang was fighting with was Xiao Mang, who was ranked the 22nd on the earthly dragon list. And Xiao Mang had become famous on the earth dragon list for so many years, and during these years, he seldom fought with others, which was the reason why he was still ranked around the 20s. But as for his real strength, who knew? I hope Lao San can really match up with Xiao Mang. Even if he can't, as long as he survives, it will be fine. With a cold expression, Suro glanced at the lake underfoot, and the next moment, she also dived into the water directly to participate in the competition for black water lotus seeds. Whoosh! Whoosh! Two figures rapidly darted in the jungle one after another. After a while, both of them appeared at the top of the mountain where boulders were found everywhere. It could be called a boulders forest. At a distance of about 10 meters, Jian Wushuang and Xiao Mang stood on different boulders, staring at each other. Until now, I don't know your name. Xiao Mang said. Swordsman from Dragon Palace. Jian Wushuang answered. Disciple of Dragon Palace. Xiao Mang raised his brow. Well, as expected. Only the legendary disciples of Dragon Palace are able to block me while at initial Gold Core realm. But, you should know that I didn't try my best just now, said Xiao Mang. I know. Jian Wushuang nodded, and then he added, coincidentally, I didn't do my best, either. Haha, this is much more interesting, Xiao Mang grinned. Then he took out the black water lotus and put it into the interspatial ring in front of Jian Wushuang. After that, Xiao Mang threw it aside casually. The interspatial ring flew in a streak, like a concealed weapons given its rapid speed. It hit a tree at the edge of mountaintop. Due to the force of the throw, it became deeply embedded in the trunk. The black water lotus is in the interspatial ring. After the battle, the winner can take it away, said Xiao Mang. Okay. Jian Wushuang nodded, with a strong battle intent rising in his eyes. The similar desire to battle sparkled in the eyes of Xiao Mang. His blood had been still for a long time, but it started to boil at this moment. Chapter 112, End of the Battle. Haha, watch out. Xiao Mang roared and brought his leg crashing down. The huge rock underneath him instantly scattered into pieces. He crossed over the huge rocks at lightning speed like a ghost and showed up in front of Jian Wushuang in a blink of an eye. Then he quickly unsheathed his saber. The untouchable astonishing knife essence fiercely gushed out, leaving Jian Wushuang almost breathless. And then, swoosh! A shining stroke covered the bright sky suddenly, slashing toward Jian Wushuang immediately. The air was cut apart. The blade flash hadn't even arrived, yet a lethal wind overwhelmed him. Jian Wushuang turned solemn as he realized that the essence in that single stroke of Xiao Mang was already at the 10th level of the Dragon Gate. Just come on! Jian Wushuang shouted, brandishing the triple kill sword from his hand. In a moment the Earth Sword essence reached its extreme and the 10th move of Formless Sword Wave burst out. Meanwhile, his power of the Supreme Golden Pill Realm climbed to the peak too. Bang! After a tremendous sound, Jian Wushuang felt that his arm was pushed down and his hand was numb. The huge rock under him had cracked because of the impact of the two terrible forces. If I battle him head-on, I will lose. Jian Wushuang suddenly became clearly aware of this. Haha, as an initial completion of the Golden Pill Realm you're actually weaker than me. Xiao Mang sneered at him. Jian Wushuang frowned slightly. Despite my Supreme Golden Pill Realm being in defiance of the natural order, which is even stronger than the normal fulfillment of the Golden Pill Realm, Xiao Mang is at the level of top fulfillment of the Golden Pill Realm and his force of spiritual power is at the peak of Golden Pill Realm. Based on power, he's stronger than me. A newly broken through initial completion of the Golden Pill Realm, whose power was stronger than the normal fulfillment of the Golden Pill Realm. This was already incredible and would frighten many people. Jian Wushuang was well aware of this. After all, Xiao Mang had reached the peak of fulfillment of the Golden Pill realm. Jian Wushuang needed to reach at least the top initial completion of the Golden Pill realm to compete him with power. It's tough to fight against him directly, but I can defeat him with my swordsmanship and sword essence. Jian Wushuang's eyes became colder and he lifted his long sword. Turning into a viper suddenly, the sword circumvented Xiao Mang's saber and weirdly stabbed towards Xiao Mang's chest. Gale Essence Realm. Xiao Mang felt surprised. His left hand gathered his mighty spiritual power and slapped quickly at the approaching sword shadow. It didn't entirely stop the attack of Jian Wushuang, but deflected his sword essence. The sword shadow passed beside Xiao Mang and failed to connect. Take my stroke. Xiao Mang growled, his hand clenched the saber and chopped it down with anger in an unbelievably domineering fashion. Jian Wushuang used a backhand stroke to withstand it. Bang! The huge rock under Jian Wushuang thoroughly scattered into pieces, as if concealed weapons had bombarded the surrounding rock. Moreover, Jian Wushuang was pushed back by this stroke. Without thinking, Jian Wushuang charged forward and there was a raspy sound of wind and the temperature rapidly rose. Sword skill of blood and fire, 6th move. Swoosh! The sharp and rapid sword light cleaved down and seemed to tear the world apart. Before it was the earth sword essence, just now it was the sword essence of Gale, and now it's the sword essence of raging fire. All with deep comprehension. Even Xiao Mang couldn't help being frightened after watching Jian Wushuang use these moves, including his sword essence of raging fire. I've known that the disciples of Dragon Palace are the eccentric geniuses, but never realized that they're such geniuses to comprehend 3 sword essences at the same time and all to this high level. Xiao Mang was in shock. However, he parried with his saber and easily resisted the sword skill of blood and fire. Any of the 3 sword essences I've comprehended can't compare with your gusty wind essence realm, but it's enough to overcome you if I use them well. Jian Wushuang said. Haha, then just give a try. Xiao Mang laughed, looking amused. Boom! The terrifying roar continued and the battle arrived at a key moment. At the same time, while Jian Wushuang was fighting with Xiao Mang, the battle for the Black Water Lotus Seeds at the Quiet Moon Lake was approaching the end as well. The warriors stood on the lake and there were the dead bodies floating all around, at least more than 100. The blood dyed the Quiet Moon Lake red, which made it look like a scene of demonic hell. Seeing this, most of the surviving warriors of the Golden Pill realm were terrified. Their desire for Black Water Lotus Seeds was reduced. How tragic! This bloody battle couldn't be more violent. The majority of warriors of the Golden Pill realm were dead, even 2 members on the Earth Dragon list were killed. The 2 dead warriors on the list turned out to be Ling Mubai and Fire Lion. Fire Lion was undoubtedly killed by Gu Tao, while it was Suro who killed Ling Mubai. This girl, Gu Tao, stood on the lake, looking at the black-robed girl in front of him with fear. The black-robed girl looked quite young, just about 15 or 16 years old, and her cultivation of spiritual power only reached the profound gold core realm. But this young girl suddenly erupted with an amazing power, killing Ling Mubai in a flash and grabbing a Blackwater Lotus seed. At this moment, the Quiet Moon Lake returned to peace. The other warriors all escaped as soon as they carried off the Blackwater Lotus seeds, except Gu Tao and Suro, who rather stayed behind. Aware that the seeds were held by Gu Tao and Suro, none of the warriors of the Golden Pill realm around would dare to take any action. Without doubt, Gu Tao's strength was the best amongst them. The fact that he had killed Fire Lion clearly proved his strength, ranking 39 on the Earth Dragon list. It was only a fantasy to be able to seize the Blackwater Lotus seed from him. Even if the warriors of the Golden Pill realm fought together, Gu Tao could just run away if he was losing. But Suro, although she looked quite weak, had killed Ling Mubai, which is extremely frightening. Even Gu Tao didn't dare to fight against Suro. 7 Blackwater Lotus seeds and I only attained 2, this girl kept the left one, but I can't look down on her. Gu Tao shook his head and gave up thoughts of grabbing the black water lotus seed from Suro. The warriors of the Golden Pill realm around didn't have the courage to start a battle with her, either. Therefore this severe battle finally came to an end. Chapter 113, Spotlight. The fight for the black water lotus seeds was over. The 7 seeds had their owners. The face of those people who couldn't get it looked bleak. Damn. I almost got it. I paid such a high price to hire you for these black water lotus seeds, but none of you succeeded. Why did I hire you? You all are good for nothing. Fortunately, although I didn't get any black water lotus seeds, at least I am still alive, which is better than those who died. It's tragic. Too many people died. If I had rushed to the forefront, I am afraid that I would have been one of the corpses. The different survivors felt various emotions, ranging from anger, annoyance, and some secretly grateful. Anyway, this fight was over. The warriors of the Golden Pill realm here could relax. But at this moment, bang! Suddenly, a terrible deafening roar came from nearby. Everyone immediately turned around and looked over. At the peak of the nearby majestic mountain, 2 different terrifying spiritual powers were colliding furiously. The world was roaring and the earth was trembling. The ruptured gravel rolled down from the peak of the mountain like raindrops. Smash! It seemed like an apocalypse. The warriors of the Golden Pill realm standing near the quiet moon lake were shocked, and then the crowd stirred immediately. It's Xiao Mang and that black-robed swordsman whose level was at the initial completion of the Golden Pill realm. They are still fighting. How long has this been? There is still no winner between them. Come on, let's go and watch. Haha, the contest between 2 powerhouses. Hurry up. Hurry. All the people became excited with fiery eyes and they moved to that majestic mountain. Third brother, Suro said and stared at that mountain. She then moved toward it quickly without any hesitation. Xiao Mang and that boy of the initial completion of the Golden Pill realm, they could fight for such a long time. Gu Tao thought. A gleam of a surprise entered his eyes, he clenched his teeth, rushing over. At the quiet moon lake, all those warriors, no matter how they arrived, alone or hired, were crazy about this fight which was happening at the mountain peak. Those hired guns ignored the wishes of their employers. At that moment, a large number of warriors of the Golden Pill realm were swarming towards the peak of the mountain like bees. But after they appeared on the top of the mountain, all of them were shocked by the scene before their eyes. The ground there had crumbled into potholes, littered with piles of rubble and a series of giant sword scars or knife marks which demonstrated the overwhelming spiritual power. The original stone forest here was already gone, just leaving some stark rocks. Suddenly, a dazzlingly cold blade flashed towards Jian Wushuang with fury. As the blade flashes target, Jian Wushuang dodged the attack by swerving his body. Then the blade chopped into the stone below his feet. Shua! The human-height rock was split into 2 parts just like tofu after contact with the blade. Immediately, the rock shattered apart. Peng! After splitting the rock, the blade didn't stop, it kept moving towards the ground with the same force. In a moment, a horrible deep chasm emerged, 3 or 4 meters across with rubble flying everywhere. Oh, God! The spectators were stunned. Chuyo! At the sound, a sword shadow pierced the void, moving quickly towards Xiao Mang. Xiao Mang evaded immediately. Thus, the long sword of Jian Wushuang stabbed into the stone wall behind Xiao Mang with a buzzing sound. The central stone of that wall was smashed into pieces directly by this attack. At the same time, a spiral hole which was 1 meter deep appeared on that wall. This hole covered the entire surface of the stone wall, which made people feel like the half of the stone disappeared entirely. The visiting warriors of the Golden Pill realm went silent after seeing this. Even the strongest warriors in the crowd, Gu Tao, when he saw what had happened here, swallowed unintentionally. God! What a terrifying power! Can anyone resist their attack? Gu Tao thought. Was it possible that someone could smash the gigantic rock with one slash and produce such a deep crack in the ground, or impale the large rock with a thrust while destroying all those stones and obliterating the other half? That was unbelievable. Are they just at the Golden Pill realm? Warriors of the Golden Pill realm? It's impossible. Everyone kept their eyes wide with the very strange expression, especially those guys whose cultivation was already at the profound gold core realm or the exceptional gold core realm. Remember, one of the two guys was just at the initial completion of the Golden Pill realm, which was lower than anyone else here. The wind's roaring, Xiao Mang was hidden in the wind but reappeared anywhere randomly. At the same time, Jian Wushuang kept dodging flexibly, avoiding the attacks. The spectators could only hear the horrible, violent thuds over and over again, and watch the destruction of the rocks. Suddenly, Jian Wushuang stopped moving, staring at Xiao Mang with his gleaming eyes. Xiao Mang's expression became serious at that moment. He didn't care about this battle at the beginning. After all, he was confident about his strength, not to mention that his realm was at the consummation of the Golden Pill while Jian Wushuang was just at the initial completion of the Golden Pill realm. But during their fight, he found out that this initial completion guy was scarier than he thought. Xiao Mang, is that your actual strength? Jian Wushuang asked with a loud voice. You are really great, you deserve to be the 22nd in the Earth Dragon list. But I will win that black water lotus. The temperature rose immediately and then a substantial red blast formed, followed by Jian Wushuang's sword shadow. The flames which covered the sky arrived at the same time. Xiao Mang brandished his saber quickly and then the flames were split up. Seeing that, a gleaming light flashed from Jian Wushuang's eyes. Then a dim shadow of the giant's sword chopped again. But this time, what had changed, was the inconceivable and capricious formless swordsmanship. The perfect transformation of the three sword essences, including Gusty Wind Sword Essence, the Earth Sword Essence and the Raging Fire Sword Essence, displayed the real strength of Jian Wushuang. He's too strong. Who's he? I have never known this black-robed swordsman. How can his strength be so marvelous? He grasps three sword essences with such deep insight at the same time. Oh, my God! Though Xiao Mang is strong, he's just good at the essence of Gusty Wind, while his opponent simultaneously grasps three essences. If these three sword essences can be transformed perfectly, it would be flawless. Many warriors were in awe. Comprehending three sword essences at the same time was an inconceivable matter in their eyes, but Jian Wushuang did it. Chapter 114, Victory and Defeat. It's the terrifying unbridled sword shadows. Sometimes they were majestic, and sometimes they were ethereal, while sometimes they were violent. The three sword essences fused into a perfect transformation. It was so unusual that nobody could deal with it, not even Xiao Mang. Although Xiao Mang was ranked 22nd on the Earth Dragon list due to his amazing saber play, he could only break through the 10th level of Dragon Gate with his Gale Sword Essence. However, with the perfect transformation of the three sword essences, Jian Wushuang was able to break through the 11th level. Although there was only one level between the 10th and the 11th levels, the gap between them was like heaven and earth. If it was not because Xiao Mang was able to generate greater power than Jian Wushuang, he would have been defeated a long time ago. Look, Xiao Mang is going to be defeated. It's true. The black-dressed swordsman is too terrifying as he can transform the three sword essences perfectly. It is not because Xiao Mang is not strong enough. It is because the black-robed swordsman is too marvelous to control three sword essences at the same time, and what's more, he can understand them so well. It is my first time seeing such a thing. The warriors of the Gold Core realm there were all amazed at the result. In the battlefield, Xiao Mang was going to be defeated. Xiao Mang, just give up. Came the voice of Jian Wushuang. Ha, give up? That will never happen in my life. There was a crazy look in Xiao Mang's eyes. Abruptly, The aura around Xiao Mang strengthened. His power improved immediately as he lashed out with his saber. He's putting up a desperate fight. It is unbelievable that Xiao Mang is forced to such desperation. The crowd around exclaimed. Seeing the angry blade flash with his surging power, Jian Wushuang's pupils shrank and he switched from offense to defense. Then he showed his reincarnation sword skill. Bang! 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 The continuing impacts generated air waves. The waves spread to the surroundings, which caused flying debris. Some of the debris hit the warriors of the Gold Core realm, and the strong winds roared, blowing on the Golden Pill warriors' clothes. It's useless. With a growl, Jian Wushuang lashed out with his triple kill sword. The sword edge slammed onto Xiao Mang's saber. An overpowering spiritual power erupted and Xiao Mang was repulsed immediately and finally he was slammed onto a great stone behind. Bang! The great stone was broken apart instantly. With blood spewing from his mouth, Xiao Mang walked slowly from the hollow stone. He looked up and stared at Jian Wushuang. Though there was still strong battle intent in his eyes, he clasped his hands together and the spiritual power around him faded away. He was defeated. Though Xiao Mang was reluctant to do so, he had to acknowledge that he was defeated. Jian Wushuang was able to transform the three sword essences perfectly, but it put him under too much pressure, so he had to struggle. But this kind of struggle consumed too much spiritual power, so after just a while, his spiritual power had been used up. Unlike Xiao Mang, the aura around Jian Wushuang was still strong and it seemed that his spiritual power hadn't been consumed at all after the fierce battle. Actually, Jian Wushuang's spiritual power had been mostly consumed, but it meant little to him. You know, when he had just reached transforming sea realm before, the ultimate spiritual sea possessed tremendous spiritual power. Though now he had broken through and reached supreme gold core realm, the ultimate spiritual sea was transformed to the gold core power and was no longer so large, it was still stronger than the ordinary gold core, at least it was 10 times that of ordinary warriors of the gold core realm. So after a fierce battle, Jian Wushuang's battle strength was still at its peak. Look, Xiao Mang is defeated. Although he tried his best, he was defeated. The warriors of the gold core realm around could tell that Xiao Mang had consumed all his spiritual power, so they couldn't help sighing and felt sorry for Xiao Mang. Though they felt sorry for Xiao Mang, they felt admiration for him. Yes, it was admiration. It was obvious that Xiao Mang had consumed all his spiritual power and wasn't able to fight anymore, but in his eyes, his battle intent never weakened, and he also kept clasping the saber, while the saber essence around him was still strong. The battle was over, but the battle intent remained. Xiao Mang. Jian Wushuang walked to Xiao Mang, and he also showed his admiration for Xiao Mang when he looked at him. However, he told Xiao Mang, in this battle, you are defeated. Defeated. Xiao Mang smiled sadly, then he closed his eyes and kept silent. I want to know why you are so eager to get the Black Water Lotus and even risk your life to fight with me. Jian Wushuang asked. He was curious. Based on what he knew, the seeds were the most important part of the Black Water Lotus, while the Black Lotus themselves were not very useful. However, in order to get the Black Lotus, Xiao Mang risked his life to fight with him. The Black Lotus, Xiao Mang reopened his eyes and shook his head, then he said, Swordsman, do you know how long since I reached exceptional gold core realm? Jian Wushuang was astonished and said directly, I have seen your information in the Earth Dragon list. You have long been famous and was listed in the Earth Dragon list 7 years ago. Yes, I was listed in the Earthly Dragon list 7 years ago, but I have reached the Golden Pill Grandmaster for 15 years. Xiao Mang said in a low voice. 15 years. Jian Wushuang was startled. For 15 years, he had been stuck at exceptional gold core realm. 15 years ago, when I reached the exceptional gold core realm, I met a bottleneck and I found that I wasn't able to make breakthrough anymore even though I tried whatever I could. Xiao Mang smiled bitterly. Jian Wushuang nodded slightly. He also knew that in the way of cultivation, it would be harder and harder to make breakthroughs. For many people, once they met the bottleneck, it was normal for them to stop making further breakthroughs for a long time. What's more, it was nothing new for most of them to stop forever. The exceptional Gold Core realm and Yin Yang Void realm were so wide that it was very difficult to cross this bottleneck. Even for such a genius like Xiao Mang, it took him 15 years to be constrained under this bottleneck without making any breakthrough. I'm eager to make a breakthrough and became a legendary Yin Yang Void realm strongman, but I have hit this bottleneck for too long. I am desperate. However, not long ago, I met an alchemist. The master was well versed in this area and I happened to do him a favor before, so he promised to refine a bottleneck breaking pill for me as long as I could gather enough materials. Xiao Mang said. The bottleneck breaking elixir. The warriors of the Gold Core realm around were all astonished. The bottleneck breaking pill will provide me the chance to cross the bottleneck and make the breakthrough. Though it is not very likely to happen, it's the only hope for me. From that time, I tried whatever I could to gather the materials needed in refining the pill. Xiao Mang continued. I went to many places to gather the materials for a long time and I have gathered most of them. The only thing that I haven't gathered is the Black Lotus. After hearing this, all the warrior of the Gold Core realm around were clear about his intentions. It turned out that Xiao Mang needed the Black Lotus to refine the bottleneck breaking pill. No wonder he chose to risk his life for the Black Lotus. After hearing this, Jian Wushuang looked strange. He moved his hand, and a black elixir pill appeared on his hand. Is this the bottleneck breaking pill you mentioned? Chapter 115, Blood Feather Tower arrives. Amazing. Seeing the black pill that Jian Wushuang took out, everyone around was amazed. Bottleneck breaking pill. Xiao Mang was looking at Jian Wushuang in amazement as well. How could you have it? Don't forget who I am. Jian Wushuang was a bit speechless. The bottleneck breaking pill, an extremely high-grade pill, was not only quite rare and precious. In the whole Tianzong dynasty, alchemists qualified to refine the bottleneck breaking pill were very rare. The bottleneck breaking pill was too difficult to refine, so it was almost extravagant for the average person to have one. But Jian Wushuang was from Dragon Palace, whose secret pavilion collected thousands of treasures. It had all the things that one desired. The bottleneck breaking pill was almost impossible to find. But in Dragon Palace, it would only take 5,000 points to get one. Previously, to break through the bottleneck of his primordial gold core, he purchased 3 bottleneck breaking pills at the secret pavilion. He used 2 of them himself, but there was still one left, the one in his hand. But if Jian Wushuang had known that Xiao Mang fought so hard for the Black Water Lotus just to refine the bottleneck breaking pill, he would have given it to Xiao Mang. It was unnecessary to fight so fiercely. You are a good man. I'll give you this bottleneck breaking pill. Jian Wushuang passed the bottleneck breaking pill to Xiao Mang. Xiao Mang hesitated somewhat, but he finally accepted it. He looked directly into Jian Wushuang's eyes and said, "Thanks a lot." Jian Wushuang arched an eyebrow and shifted to the front of that big tree. He raised his hand and broke the trunk into pieces, causing the interspatial ring embedded deeply in the trunk to fall into his hand. Black Water Lotus. Looking at the interspatial ring, Jian Wushuang smiled. "Third brother," said Suro, appearing beside Jian Wushuang. "Wio, I was lucky and succeeded," commented Jian Wushuang before passing the interspatial ring to her. Suro took it. After binding it, she sensed the Black Water Lotus in the interspatial ring at once, then a smile appeared on her face. "Thanks a lot, third brother," Suro thanked him. Then she extended her hand with a Black Water Lotus seed in it. Black Water Lotus seed. Jian Wushuang looked at Suro, surprised. He ran to the mountaintop for a fierce fight with Xiao Mang, while at Quiet Moon Lake, those gold core warriors would certainly have fought for the 7 black lotus seeds frantically. The competition was bound to be quite fierce. But Jian Wushuang hadn't expected that Suro could seize a black water lotus seed from that group of experts. Third brother, this black water lotus seed is for you. I know you still want to grasp sword essence of the water drop. This black lotus seed should be able to help you, Suro said. Don't you want it? You also comprehend essence of the water drop. Jian Wushuang couldn't help but asked. The black water lotus is enough for me. This black water lotus seed is of little use to me, Suro said. That's great. Jian Wushuang didn't refuse. He reached out and accepted the black water lotus seed. The battle for the black water lotus is finally over, Jian Wushuang commented while he looked around. Over. It was over. The 7 black water lotus seeds had found owners, and even the black water lotus was eventually taken by Jian Wushuang, after a fierce fight. Indeed, the fighting had completely come to an end. Although it was over, the fight today would become a topic that people loved to talk about. It was destined to spread throughout the Tianzong dynasty soon. Meanwhile, the earthly dragon list would certainly alter its rankings. People would also have a deep impression of the name of Swordsman and remember the ultimate fight on the mountain near Quiet Moon Lake today. A man in the initial gold core realm, who grasped 3 different sword essences at the same time, defeated Xiao Mang. Such a brilliant record was enough to make the world praise him, making it easy for him to be ranked on the earthly dragon list. However, while people around were still talking about the fight between Swordsman and Xiao Mang, an unremarkable skinny man appeared in the crowd. The skinny man only reached the initial gold core realm. He also participated in the fight for the black water lotus, but only had a mediocre performance. Thus, nobody would notice him. But at this moment, the man was ruthlessly gazing in the direction of Jian Wushuang. A black-robed swordsman. He is only in the initial gold core realm, yet he has grasped 3 different sword essences with an extremely high level of comprehension. Yes, he is Jian Wushuang. The target of the Scarlet Kill command, Jian Wushuang. After confirmation, the skinny man immediately went to deliver the message. Soon, night fell. Though the moonlight was bright and clear, its light could not reach into the endless mountain range. So it was still dark in there. Whoosh! 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 A series of dark figures hastily swept through the woods like ghosts. It wasn't long before they reached a forest near Quiet Moon Lake and stopped. All these men were dressed in black robes, wearing masks on their faces. There were 12 of them in total. Among whom 10 wore gold masks, while the other 2 wore purple masks. 10 assassins with gold masks and 2 assassins with purple masks. This was the battle formation arranged by Blood Feather Tower this time. The target is right in front of us, one of the purple masked assassins spoke in a low voice. Blood Shadow Team 1 and Team 2, you move first. Make sure to find the right opportunity and kill him with 1 hit. Don't make the 2 of us get involved. The 2 purple masked assassins had some scruples, so they wouldn't move if the circumstances permitted. The 10 gold masked assassins stood there, cold as ice. Among them, the leader of the gold masked assassins laughed and said, he is just a disciple of Dragon Palace, in the initial gold core realm. His perception of the realms is higher than an average person, but so what? Blood Shadow Team 1 and Team 2 are moving at the same time, which is already giving him face. As for you 2, please just watch. Dark Blader, you'd better not look down on the target. According to the information we received from today's fight over the Black Water Lotus, he defeated Xiao Mang, who is ranked 22nd on the Earthly Dragon list. Do not forget that Xiao Mang's ranking on the Earthly Dragon list is above you. The purple masked assassin said in a low voice. So what? The gold masked assassin, Dark Blader, still dismissed it and said, I'm an assassin, so direct slaughter is not my forte. But once I find a chance, even those who rank in the top 10 on the earthly dragon list will die, let alone someone ranked 22 ND. Darkblader was full of confidence. But he was indeed qualified to say this. Darkblader. He ranked 41st on the earthly dragon list. Although his ranking was below 40, his real identity was an assassin of Bloodfeather Tower. As an assassin, when found the right opportunity, he was an extremely terrifying assassin. Anyway, be careful. Don't forget that he is the target of a Scarlet Kill command, ordered personally by Sir Greyrobe. This time, we must kill him no matter what. If we fail, we will all be executed. The purple masked assassin had a serious expression. Remember, don't give him a chance. Kill him in one hit, and then leave immediately. Go. Once the purple masked assassin finished speaking, the 10 gold masked assassins immediately set out. Chapter 116, A Perfect Assassination. Near Quiet Moon Lake, a charcoal fire was burning brightly and the area was filled with noise. It was near nightfall when the fight for the Black Water Lotus finished. Therefore, most of the warriors were still here. A number of warriors in the Gold Core realm gathered together in 2s or 3s, busy talking about the magnificent battle between Jian Wushuang and Xiao Mang. Who is the black-robed swordsman? How does a warrior in the initial Gold Core realm have such terrifying battle strength? His name seems to be Swordsman. It is said that he is a disciple of Dragon Palace. A disciple of Dragon Palace? So that is why he is powerful. Those warriors of the Gold Core realm glanced, from time to time, towards the black-robed adolescent who was practicing his sword skills. The black-robed adolescent brandished his long sword, slowly practicing his sword skills. Seeing one slash followed by another one, people suffered from a delusion that his sword chopping into a pall of cotton instead of the air. Extremely weird. The experts with relatively sharp eyes immediately recognized what was happening. Essence of the water drop. It's essence of the water drop. Swordsman comprehended essence of the water drop. He had already comprehended the sword essences of Gale, Earth, and Raging Fire sword before. Now, he has comprehended sword essence of the water drop. He has comprehended 4 different essences. Everyone looked at Jian Wushuang with surprise. Exceptional genius. Monster. 4 different sword essences at the same time. Quite brave, isn't he? After a round of loud exclamation, everyone present was astonished. The expressions of the experts from the earthly dragon list were also complex. A man who comprehending 4 essences at the same time, should be regarded as crazy rather than courageous. Jian Wushuang actually dared to do it. But it was not impossible for him to comprehend 4 essences at the same time after the awakening of Sword Soul. The 2 assassin teams, called Blood Shadow, were hiding on the top of a big tree near Jian Wushuang while he was practicing. The leader, Darkblader, stared at Jian Wushuang with his dark eyes. Sword essence of the water drop. Darkblader was also surprised. After all, he was informed that Jian Wushuang had comprehended 3 different sword essences, Gale, Earth, and Raging Fire. It's very brave for Jian Wushuang to comprehend 4 sword essences at the same time, Darkblader mocked. He's concentrating right now as he practices his swordsmanship. The possibility of a sneak attack succeeding is very low if I attack now. The best time would be the instant he puts his sword away after finishing his practice. At that moment, his attention and concentration will wander. Those golden masked assassins were waiting silently. The sword light was fleeting like a wave, soft but tough. One move after another. They looked slow, but every move contained a mighty power. The sword light suddenly stabbed toward the void and engendered a stream of a substantial wave. Jian Wushuang opened his eyes and slightly smiled. It's indeed the black water lotus seed which induced such a bloody fight. I easily comprehended sword essence of the water drop soon after swallowing it. And my comprehension has even reached the 4th level of the Dragon Gate. To normal warriors of the Gold Core realm, comprehension that reached the 4th level of the Dragon Gate was very high. Even Jian Wushuang barely squeaked through the 4th level by earnestly cultivating for 3 months before joining Dragon Palace. But now his comprehension in sword essence of the water drop easily reached this level because of the black water lotus seed. Hu. Exhaling a breath, Jian Wushuang put away his sword without realizing the hidden peril that surrounded him. At the same time he was putting away his sword. Now is our chance. The hidden dark blader silently floated down, like a phantom, towards Jian Wushuang. At this time, Jian Wushuang's expression relaxed. Third brother. Suro, who had been watching Jian Wushuang, walked toward him and said, "Congratulations. You have comprehended another sword essence." After congratulating Jian Wushuang on his breakthrough, she suddenly sensed a hint of crisis from her heart. Even the target, Jian Wushuang, didn't sense it, but Suro sensed it. Third brother. Watch out. Suro shouted suddenly. What? Jian Wushuang became alarmed and all his pores opened in an instant. A sense of unprecedented crisis filled Jian Wushuang. Then a black light emerged silently behind Jian Wushuang with a cold and dark luster. This. It was so fast that Jian Wushuang did not have time to respond. Het. Comprehend 4 sword essences. So what? Defeated Xiao Mang. So what? You finished your practice just now. Your previous concentration of sense and spirit are wandering. Right now is when you are the most vulnerable. With the darkness as cover, this is the perfect opportunity to assassinate you. It will be a perfect assassination. Even experts ranked in the top 10 on the earthly dragon list would not be able to escape. You will die. Dark Blader smiled coldly. At this time, he could see the image of Jian Wushuang being killed by him. However, a swift gust of wind rushed forward, followed by 2 streams of wind passed through the space and appeared in front of him. His black light, which nearly stabbed into Jian Wushuang, was parried by the wind. How could that be? Dark Blader was surprised. He had been confident in this assassination. Jian Wushuang was not able to react and was going to die. The truth was that Jian Wushuang didn't react. However, Suro made it. Suro not only perceived but even parried this killing attack. He realized that terrifying burst of power came from Suro. This woman. Dark Blader looked at Suro in shock. How could she react? Such a perfect assassination. Only an expert in the yin-yang void realm should have been able to respond, so how did she react in time? That cold and dark black light was parried by 2 jets of wind. However, the power of the black light was much stronger, so the wind was easily destroyed. Subsequently, the black light still stabbed toward Jian Wushuang. Thanks to the wind hindering the black light for a while, Jian Wushuang was able to swerve drastically. Watching as this black light approached his body to within less than half a centimeter, his pores immediately opened and cold sweat ran down his back. But in the next moment, an endless anger erupted. Blood-feathered tower. Seeing this gold-masked figure, killing intent poured out from Jian Wushuang's eyes. Go to hell. Boom. After a swift and violent explosion of sword essence, a foggy sword shadow which was extremely aggressive headed for Dark Blader. Not good. Dark Blader felt a sense of fear in his heart. He was well versed in assassination, he was much weaker in direct combat. Then he quickly parried with the black light. Bang! The terrifying foggy sword shadow pounded on the black light, which was a cold black dagger. But, the terrifying power of the attack caused the black dagger to slide out of Dark Blader's hand. Many figures rushed towards Jian Wushuang as he attacked Dark Blader again, trying to kill him directly. Chapter 117, Blood Shadow Team. Many ghostly figures rushed towards Jian Wushuang from all directions, with the black sharp edges in their hands aimed at his vital parts, stabbing out at tricky angles. These ghostly figures were the other 9 members of the Blood Shadow team. Although the gold-masked assassins of the two teams were not as good as the Dark Blader in terms of strength, they were still top-ranked assassins. Most of them had enough strength to assassinate experts on the Earthly Dragon list. Go to hell. With a heavy outburst, a powerful sword essence was released, and Jian Wushuang lashed out with his triple kill sword. Sword light passed by silently, but suddenly there were many strange waves rippling in the air. These waves contained terrible impact force, directly spreading out in all directions. Bang! 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 After 9 consecutive loud noises, the 9 gold-masked assassins that had rushed in were all expelled directly and relentlessly. They were knocked several meters away before they finally managed to regain their balance. There was a little shock in the eyes of gold-masked assassins. As gold-masked assassins, especially assassins in the Blood Shadow team, each of them had reached the peak of the exceptional Gold Core realm. Although they were not as powerful as the experts on the Earthly Dragon list, they were not far away from them. If it was an assassination, each of them had the strength to assassinate experts on the Earthly Dragon list. But now, all 9 people were pushed back by Jian Wushuang with only one move. What was this strength? As for the Dark Blader, who was the first one knocked back by Jian Wushuang, his dark eyes squinted suddenly, not looking at Jian Wushuang, but Suro. He was very clear on how perfect the assassination attempt was just now. Jian Wushuang should have definitely died. But this perfect assassination failed, because of Suro. "This woman is weird," said Dark Blader in a low voice. Everything happened too fast. Starting with the first attack from Dark Blader, then the 9 gold-masked assassins who were repelled by Jian Wushuang with only one move. In fact, all this happened in a split second. However, many of the warriors beside Quiet Moon Lake did not realize what happened until it was already over. What happened? What a terrifying atmosphere. What's wrong? Swordsman, it's Swordsman. Are those gold-masked men from Bloodfeather Tower? It's Bloodfeather Tower all right. They are gold-masked assassins from Bloodfeather Tower. What's more, there are 10 gold-masked assassins in total. And all of them have come for Swordsman. Do people in Bloodfeather Tower want to kill Swordsman? There was quite a commotion around the whole Quiet Moon Lake. All the warriors immediately looked there, but they were shocked by what they saw. But there was nothing they could do. Bloodfeather Tower was synonymous with terrible in the Tianzong dynasty. Faced with the top assassin organization in Tianzong dynasty, everyone was afraid. Normally, the people that Bloodfeather Tower wanted to kill would have no chance of surviving. Bloodfeather Tower. There was a heavy killing intent in Jian Wushuang's eyes, but his heart shrank when he looked at all these gold-masked assassins. He knew that since assassins from Bloodfeather Tower were here, it meant that his identity had been exposed. According to the assassination style of Bloodfeather Tower, since they had attacked, they must be prepared. Although the 10 gold-masked assassins in front of him could threaten him, he was sure that this was not all Bloodfeather Tower had prepared. Bloodfeather Tower, how dare you try to assassinate a disciple of Dragon Palace? Are you not afraid that Dragon Palace will seek revenge? Jian Wushuang shouted and his voice spread out over the area. A disciple of Dragon Palace. Is Swordsman really a disciple of Dragon Palace? Just play a joke. He is just an initial completion of the Golden Pill realm with so powerful battle strength that only the eccentric genius of Dragon Palace can do it. All the surrounding warriors were scared, and no one dared to intervene. Bloodfeather Tower. Xiao Mang, who was sitting cross-legged under a big tree, also saw the scene that was occurring beside Quiet Moon Lake. His brows slightly wrinkled, but he immediately shook his head slowly after that. Normally, he might help Jian Wushuang. After all, Jian Wushuang had given him a bottleneck-breaking pill today, so he felt a great amount of gratitude towards Jian Wushuang that he would not forget. However, his spiritual power had been exhausted in the fight earlier, and he had not recovered enough yet to be able to offer any help. Therefore, Jian Wushuang could only fend for himself. Of course, Jian Wushuang never thought that someone would come to help him. His purpose was merely to spread his identity. That way, regardless of whether he lived or died today, Bloodfeather Tower would suffer the crazy revenge of Dragon Palace later. Dragon Palace put a lot of emphasis on protecting their disciples. Whoever bullied the disciples of Dragon Palace would not have a good ending unless Dragon Palace never knew about it. And Jian Wushuang had shocked the whole Dragon Palace by passing through the 11th level of the Dragon Gate. Now, the two palace masters and the temple masters of Dragon Palace thought that Jian Wushuang was an extremely rare genius. Once such a genius was killed, Dragon Palace would feel so much pain that their revenge would be much more malicious. Jian Wushuang, Dark Blader said. Today, don't talk about the Dragon Palace. Even the gods can't help you. You will die. Nobody can save you. Come on. Kill him. As his voice faded, Dark Blader took the lead, and the 9 gold-masked assassins followed. You. Jian Wushuang smirked and his figure turned ghostly. Shuyo. A sword shadow appeared silently in front of one of the gold-masked assassins. Without any time for him to respond, in just a blink, this gold-masked assassin was directly killed by the sword edge which passed through his neck. Followed by another ghostly image of Jian Wushuang. Shua. The same silent sword swept past the throat of another gold-masked assassin. What happened? The rest of the gold-masked assassins were shocked. This is... Dark Blader also glowered. 2 gold-masked assassins were instantly killed in just a moment, but they did not even see the Jian Wushuang's figure. Fast. He was too fast. Not only the speed of his body, but also the speed of his sword. Formless Sword Arts, 6th move. The 2 purple-masked assassins, standing side by side on a tree in the forest, gazed intently. Such a large error in the intelligence report. Jian Wushuang is much stronger than reported, and the woman beside him is also weird. She was able to respond to that perfect assassination attempt by Dark Blader, murmured a purple-masked assassin. It is too late to talk about that. Now that we have taken action, there is no way out. It is obvious that Dark Blader cannot kill Jian Wushuang, so it's up to you, murmured the other purple-masked assassin. If I join in the fight, he will definitely die. The first purple-masked assassin nodded slightly, then his figure direct rushed out. Chapter 118, Exerting the Utmost Strength. Die. The long sword in Jian Wushuang's hand silently appeared in front of the third gold-masked assassin and he was directly killed without putting up any resistance. How could that be? How is he so fast? The remaining gold-masked assassins were horrified. They didn't know that Jian Wushuang's comprehension in sword essence of Gale was so high that he could execute the 6th move of the Formless Sword Arts. The Formless Sword Arts were known as the top sword skill in the Tianzong dynasty. How could it not be terrifyingly powerful? The 6th move truly was extremely powerful. The 6th move could not be executed in the fight against Xiao Mang because his comprehension of the essence of Gale was deeper. Xiao Mang was also stronger than Jian Wushuang, so this move could not threaten Xiao Mang. However, when Jian Wushuang used it against these gold-masked assassins, who were not on the earthly dragon list, the Formless Sword Arts could massacre them. These gold-masked assassins had no chance to fight back against the speed released by Jian Wushuang's sword. The 4th one. Jian Wushuang's sword slashed out again. Covering a distance of more than 10 meters instantaneously, the sword pierced the 4th gold-masked assassin's throat. However, after he killed the 4th gold-masked assassin. What? Jian Wushuang lifted his head quickly as a black figure appeared in his sight. The black figure had arrived in front of him in an instant from a distance of more than 10 meters. This speed. Jian Wushuang was surprised upon seeing the black figure's palm that was thrusting towards his head. Jian Wushuang was shocked by the power contained in this palm attack. He would instantly die, without question, if this blow landed on his head. At this critical moment, the triple kill sword in Jian Wushuang's hand directly stabbed through the voice, toward the center of the incoming palm. Bang! The sword edge of the triple kill sword collided with that palm. However, the triple kill sword failed to pierce the palm, and the palm suppressed Jian Wushuang with irresistible and terrifying power. Jian Wushuang felt a mighty force being transmitted through his arm, then he sprayed a jet of blood out of his mouth as his body fiercely shot backward, like a bullet. Bang! Jian Wushuang's figure was knocked back on the ground by more than 10 meters, with the ground cracking as his figure was continued rolling. It did not stop until his body rolled into Quiet Moon Lake. The whole Quiet Moon Lake immediately became still. Everyone looked, their mouths agape, at the black-robed figure hovering in the void. There was a man in a black robe and purple mask. But, the most important part was that he was standing in the air. His identity was instantly clear. Purple Masked Assassin. Yin-Yang Void Realm. A purple masked assassin from Blood Feather Tower came to kill Jian Wushuang himself. Swordsman is going to die. He is done. Everybody was shocked. There were few experts of the Yin-Yang Void Realm in the Tianzong dynasty. It was very unlikely to meet one of these experts. The purple masked assassin from Blood Feather Tower was exceedingly more powerful than normal experts of the Yin-Yang Void Realm. Nobody present thought that Jian Wushuang, merely in the initial gold core realm, could still be alive after the attack from the purple masked assassin. Third brother. Seeing Jian Wushuang slowly sinking into Quiet Moon Lake, Suro's beautiful expression grew hideous and her killing intent burst out. You will die. Staring at the purple masked assassin, a blast of air surged from Suro's body. Suro had released this wind several times, but this time was the strongest. This terrifying wind astonished the purple masked assassin, and he instantly looked at Suro. This girl, seeing the increasingly terrifying wind that was released by Suro, the purple masked assassin's mouth twitched. He felt that Suro was incredibly dangerous. Suro coldly stared at the purple masked assassin, and a cold voice emerged from her, "Asshole! Go die!" The huge sword was slashed out. Swoosh! The great sword was outclassing over, and it was easy to pass through the void so that there was an awkward windbreak in the air. The sturdy sword edge also swept from the ground and crashed. The ground suddenly cracked. A large crack that is more than 2 meters wide. An enormous power soared into the sky with an overwhelming aura. Gathering his look, he became careful. The purple masked killer clenching his right hand, the spiritual power burst out. Without hesitation, a fist was shaken with angry, and when it came out, a crisp explosion from his body also rang through the world. Bang! After the collision between them, the purple masked assassin groaned and his body immediately flew backwards, crashing into a large tree that was tens of meters away. Crack! Apparently, the tree could not bear the terrifying force, so it directly splintered. This stream of power, looking at his still tingling palms, the purple masked assassin looked at Suro in a different way. The girl is from that place? I cannot kill her. After exerting her strongest move, the aura of Suro's body had already begun to diminish. There was also sweat on her beautiful face. Obviously, she did not have enough force to attack again. However, while clenching her jaw, Suro still stared at the purple masked assassin. I don't dare to kill you. The purple masked assassin shook his head. Without any thoughts of tangling with Suro, his figure flew out and appeared over Quiet Moon Lake. As for Suro, all she could do was watch him. Third brother. Staring at the lake surface, Suro began trembling. Jian Wushuang had disappeared and the surface of the lake was placid. In Quiet Moon Lake, Jian Wushuang was surrounded with endless lake water as his eyes opened. A load of blood surged from his mouth. Compared with Gold Core Realm warriors, experts of the Yin-Yang Void Realm were much stronger. A mere palm attack was enough to seriously injure him. He even felt like his internal organs had been completely rearranged. He was in extreme pain. It was all he could do to face that attack one time. If it came again, he would definitely die. I was sure that they would not send only 10 gold masked assassins since Bloodfeather Tower wants to kill me. And I was right. But it was beyond my expectation that Bloodfeather Tower would send a purple masked assassin to kill a warrior in the initial Gold Core realm. Although Jian Wushuang was seriously injured, the battle intent in his eyes was still powerful. This time, I will use my full strength. Jian Wushuang clenched his hands and his eyes blinked with a vestige of insanity. Soul devouring. Secret skill. Quiet Moon Lake quaked. Jian Wushuang's body seemed to be a black hole that could devour everything as a stream of natural power from all things of the universe rushed into his body at an amazing speed. With the natural power being injected, Jian Wushuang's aura began to soar. It had been 1 year, now Jian Wushuang was executing the soul-devouring secret skill again. He was in a desperate fight. Chapter 119, Boom. 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 2 meters above Quiet Moon Lake, a purple masked assassin was floating and looking down with cold eyes. Is he dead? The lake was quiet but Jian Wushuang had already sunk into it. However, suddenly, in the center of Quiet Moon Lake, a huge whirlpool took shape and began rapidly expanding to swallow the whole lake, which made the great lake crazily stir. Beep. 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 The sound of stirring water was spread through the area like a windstorm generating in the center of the lake. What happened? What on earth happened? What's the whirlpool? Standing beside Quiet Moon Lake, a great many warriors of the Gold Core realm were astonished. Look! Look at the ground! When that sudden cry sounded, those warriors looked down at the ground right away. However, what they saw made their hair stand on end. At this moment, the vibrant earth was turning into a bleak one at an amazingly fast speed. The original deep green was gradually changing into a dry yellow. On top of that, there were even cracks slowly appearing on the ground. Dull. Silent. Everyone was frightened. While watching what was happening around Quiet Moon Lake, the purple masked assassin above the lake became dour and then his eyes flashed with killing intent. Whatever he is doing, I will kill him. The purple masked assassin reached out his right hand and heavily slapped toward the center of the whirlpool. A magnificent spiritual power was released. In an instant, a massive palm, totally generated by spiritual power, appeared on the lake. The palm seemed to arrive from ancient times, exuding a very horrible smell. Hum. The purple masked assassin hummed as his massive palm, like a small mountain, dove toward the core of the whirlpool, slowly exerting its power. Warriors beside the Quiet Moon Lake couldn't help holding their breath when they saw that massive palm. But at that moment, whoosh! Suddenly, a cold sword light rose from Quiet Moon Lake as it slowly magnified in their eyes, rushing upward. Immediately, the whole area became thoroughly dark. Only that sword light remained in the vast and extremely dark void. The sword light was ice cold, dazzling, and destructive. After abruptly rising from the bottom of Quiet Moon Lake, the sword light rushed toward the sky and instantly struck against the massive palm. The sword light pierced into the center of the palm. Bang! An ear-splitting boom reverberated through the void. Two kinds of horrible strength directly struck against each other, which immediately generated many tangible airflows. Then, those airflows were transformed into a blast wave that swept out in a destructive manner. Hum! It was just like a star exploding. The horrible blast wave crazily rushed out in all directions. At that moment, the wave blew every warrior of the Gold Core realm who stood by Quiet Moon Lake hither and thither. Worse still, some of them directly spit blood and retreated. The mass of trees growing by the lake was also swept away by the blast wave, many of which were instantly uprooted, while some of them directly broke at the base of their trunks. The heaven and earth were in ruin and it seemed to be the end of the world. How did this happen? That purple masked assassin was totally astonished, looking at the soaring sword light in amazement. It seemed to be all-conquering as it directly pierced into the center of the massive palm. A terrible piercing force violently radiated from the sword light. Within just a moment, the massive palm which he displayed with all his strength was directly split. After that, the sword edge swept out, shredding the palm into pieces. Swoosh! Even after splitting the massive palm, the sword light still rushed toward the sky with rolling sword essence. And then, following that, bang! A massive spray of water abruptly gushed out from the bottom of Quiet Moon Lake, and then a black figure directly rushed upward with an arrogant sword essence and an incredibly terrifying aura. In the next moment, he had already appeared in front of the purple masked assassin. Old bastard! You enjoyed it, didn't you? Jian Wushuang calmly looked at the purple masked assassin. Although the assassin's appearance could not be seen clearly, Jian Wushuang could infer that he was an old guy by his figure and voice. The purple masked assassin had not completely recovered from his astonishment. Now, it's my turn. Jian Wushuang's cold grin resembled that of a blade. Jian Wushuang didn't show his sword arts. Instead, he sheathed his triple kill sword. Then, just using his fists, he began directly punching towards the purple masked assassin's face. Boom! The outburst of terrifying power made a fearsome wind sound when Jian Wushuang waved his fist through the air. After all, Jian Wushuang was currently using the soul-devouring secret skill. By devouring nature and absorbing the natural power in the area for hundreds of meters, his spiritual power was pushed to the peak of the exceptional gold core realm. But he possessed a supreme gold core, which was 100 times stronger than an expert in the same realm. After a complete outburst, his strength settled at the peak of the exceptional gold core realm. The strength that radiated out was much more terrifying than the average yin-yang void realm. You must want to go to the hell. Seeing Jian Wushuang directly use his fist, without any sword skills, the purple masked killer raged and used his fist, releasing the peak of his strength. At that moment, two fists were rushing towards a head-on collision. Crack! Only the sound of bones cracking was heard. Then, in the next moment, the purple masked assassin uttered a grievous cry. My arm! Staring with extreme rage in his eyes, the purple masked assassin was aware that the bones in his right arm were completely shattered. His right arm had been disabled in this head-on, fist-to-fist, battle. It is you that will go to the hell. Jian Wushuang thundered again and then immediately kicked towards him. The purple masked assassin was unable to make any response, heavily falling on the ground and instantly creating a 1-meter depth hole with his falling force. Afterwards, the killer simply laid in the hole while blood leaked from his mouth. It was uncertain whether he was dead or not. Dull. All the warriors around Quiet Moon Lake were dull. What did they just witness? A warriors of the Gold Core realm defeating a supreme expert in the real Yin-Yang Void realm, even beating him until he was almost dead in an instant. Furthermore, he didn't use his sword. With a distorted face and bloodshot eyes, Jian Wushuang was dying to thoroughly kill the purple masked assassin who lay in the deep hole with an unknown lifespan remaining. However, a frightening aura swept through the area, indicating that there was another purple masked assassin. All the warriors in the area stared with wide eyes when they saw it. Another purple masked assassin? Chapter 120, The Line Between Death and Life. Chuyu. A cold black light rushed toward Jian Wushuang as a terrifying aura directly locked onto him. Naturally, it was from the second purple masked assassin. This purple masked assassin had been hiding in the dark. He did not intend to show himself, but he never expected that things would go this way. Two teams of the Blood Shadow had joined the fight. Jian Wushuang killed 4 of them in only a moment, but the Blood Shadow teams had not even managed to touch his shadow. Then the first purple masked assassin had fought against Jian Wushuang in person. The result was that he was defeated and sprawled out in a huge hole near Jian Wushuang. It was even uncertain whether he was alive or dead. He had no choice but to show himself. One more? Get lost. Jian Wushuang roared and angrily hacked his triple kill sword toward the second purple masked assassin with a steam of scorching and fiery sword essence of raging fire. Sword skill of blood and fire, the sixth move. That cold black light also rushed toward the second purple masked assassin. Bang! Jian Wushuang could not help stumbling back several steps, as did the purple masked assassin. The strength of the second purple masked assassin is much stronger than that of the first one. Jian Wushuang thought secretly. Warriors of the Gold Core realm had differences between strong and weak, so did warriors of the Yin-Yang Void realm. The same situation was true for those purple masked assassins. The second purple masked assassin's strength was much stronger than that of the first purple masked assassin who was pulverized by Jian Wushuang. Go to hell. Again, that purple masked assassin stabbed out ferociously with his black dagger. It seemed that the stab could pierce through the heavens, and a cacophony resounded through the void. Ridiculous. With a sneer, Jian Wushuang waved his triple kill sword and slashed out directly with a strong burst of sword essence of gale. But the speed of his sword was faster than that of the black dagger in the purple masked assassin's hand. Clang! The sparks made by the clashing of the two blades was very showy in the night sky. Jian Wushuang moved his wrist and the long sword flexibly bypassed the black dagger. Then, while radiating sword essence of earth, he hacked out his sword. Obviously, the purple masked assassin was battle-hardened. Without any panic, he waved his black dagger forward angrily. Bang! With another low and deep sound, the heavy and vast sword essence of earth released a huge amount of power. In addition, the power released from the soul-devouring secret skill, executed by Jian Wushuang, far exceeded that of common warriors in the Yin-Yang Void realm. As these two huge powers contained in the Jian Wushuang sword move crashed against that black dagger, the purple masked assassin became nervous. However, in the place where two sword edges clashed, a wave-like essence spread out. This wave was the impact force from the clash between the two blades. And, although it was not worth mentioning to Jian Wushuang and that purple masked assassin, the blast wave generated right in front of the purple masked assassin, so it naturally reached his face first. Bang! As soon as the blast wave struck that assassin's purple mask, this wicked and frightening purple mask cracked directly in front of everyone. When the mask cracked and broke away from his face, a pretty and refined face appeared, but this face was hideous at this moment. It's you. When Jian Wushuang saw this face, a sharp light suddenly flashed in his eyes. Most warriors of the Gold Core realm near Quiet Moon Lake also saw this face, and some of them recognized him with a single glance. It's him. Lin Yun, it's Lord Lin Yun. It really Lord Lin Yun. Lin Yun, the governor of Blizzard City. Many warriors of the Gold Core realm who recognized his face felt it was unbelievable. Lin Yun, it's you. Jian Wushuang was surprised too. He happened to have met Lin Yun once at the Golden Dragon subsidiary palace in Moonheart City. At that time, Lin Yun gave people the impression of gentleness, elegance, and courtesy. With such a good reputation, he seemed to be a good person, 100%. Nearly everyone who knew Lin Yun respected him very much. But who could have thought that such a good person was a purple masked assassin from Blood Feather Tower? You hid so deeply, Jian Wushuang said in a low voice. At this moment, Lin Yun's face was hideous instead of gentle. Damn it! Lin Yun cursed secretly in his heart. The reason why he did not show himself before was that he was afraid of exposing his identity. He did not intend to appear and help kill Jian Wushuang unless he had no choice. But he had never thought the battle strength which Jian Wushuang released would be so strong. Now, his identity was exposed in front of so many people. Regardless of whether he killed Jian Wushuang or not today, he no longer had a place to return to in the Tianzong dynasty. Because, regardless of the risks, Dragon Palace would kill him. Now that my identity has been exposed, I just need to focus on killing him first. Lin Yun's eyes were full of killing intent. Then, a moment later, a lavender long spear appeared in his hand. This long spear was his real weapon. He only used the black dagger to hide his identity. Go to hell. Lin Yun instantly made his move, his body appearing in front of Jian Wushuang in the blink of an eye, as he directly thrust out his lavender long spear. Without any sound, this stab was just like a flickering serpent's tongue. Jian Wushuang only felt his body was locked in place. When this silent spear stabbed towards him, he had no way to avoid it at all. Essence of the water drop. Has Lin Yun's comprehension in essence of the water drop reached such a high level? Jian Wushuang was frightened. Just now, when Lin Yun used that black dagger to attack, he employed essence of gale. Although his comprehension was rather high, Jian Wushuang could handle it. But now Lin Yun was using the long spear with essence of the water drop, which was terrible. This spear can absolutely pass the 11th level of the Dragon Gate easily. It was even close to the 12th level. Jian Wushuang instantly executed the reincarnation sword art in an attempt to block this move. Although he turned back one spear, with another burst of strength, Lin Yun's spear shadows rushed towards Jian Wushuang successively, one by one. Clang! 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 Jian Wushuang did his utmost to fight against Lin Yun, but in his heart he had already lost the intent to fight. After all, what he had executed was the soul-devouring secret skill. The soul-devouring secret skill was terrifying, but it was a unique skill that came with a price. Using it caused great damage to himself as well as his opponent. Therefore, Jian Wushuang could not last much longer. The sharp pain in his body meant that he had reached the limit. Not only that, Jian Wushuang's eyes were red and tendons stood out on his forehead. Obviously, he was very close to his breaking point. Boom! A vast sword shadow directly pushed Lin Yun back, then Jian Wushuang turned around and ran away. Run! 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 Jian Wushuang was crazily roaring in his heart. However, the direction he ran was exactly towards the area where Suro and the gold-masked assassin stood. Third brother, Suro looked at Jian Wushuang with concern on her face. Jian Wushuang was exhausted both mentally and physically, but when he saw 6 living gold-masked assassins directly ahead of him, the killing intent in his eyes was rapidly increased again.